Hello and welcome to the Prismatic Congress, another episode, a broadcast by the Prismatic Imperium based in Cubio, an active player group that makes up part of the Ashling Deval community and specializes in roleplay. I am Mistla, Lord Warden for the branch of Vigor, and we have Sunday, the 7th of June, 3306, and there's a couple of very, very interesting game and group news we can talk about today. Let's go into the game news first. As everybody may as well be aware, is that we will get the fleet carrier update very soon now. It will be on Tuesday in 2 days as we record this now. So if you are listening to this podcast in hindsight, it might already be there. Fleet carriers will arrive, and in light of this, there was an even bigger announcement that might have been published by accident, but they, of course, decided to roll with it. And this news is that we now know what the upcoming expansion is. Elite Dangerous Odyssey was announced, and it will come out in early 2021. We're certainly excited for this. If there is some confusion as to why it is announced for early 2021, when for the whole long while they said that it would come out at the end of the year, there was a little announcement about a month ago, I believe, where they explained that due to the COVID changes to their way of working, they had to delay it into the early next year. So this kind of matches what they said in that announcement. But nevertheless, we got an announcement trailer for Elite Dangerous Odyssey now, and there's some interesting things to see there. First of all, we have the answer to the ominous question, do we get space legs or do we get atmospheric landings? The answer is we get both of it, at least to some degree. We obviously have some form of space leg that was introduced in the video, including weapons. There will be first-person combat in some way. And in the video, we also saw ships landing on a planet that has at least some kind of atmosphere. To what extent this will be in the final game, we still don't know. There will be a whole lot of announcements over the coming weeks and months that will probably go into detail there, but that is what we have so far. Same for the extent of space legs. We know that there will be some kind of social hubs where people can meet, form alliances, and probably just hang out socially, but even there we do not know the full extent of how that will work and what this FPS combat gameplay, for example, will entail. I will put the link to the announcement, of course, in the description, and I also encourage everybody to look at the revelation trailer, because it is a pretty cool video, and you also get a first impression of what the in-game engine is supposed to be capable of. They certainly, it seems like they made some upgrade to their graphics engine and planet generation system, so this will probably be explained in more detail in future announcements as well. Before we go into our regular branch news section, we also have some group news that we would like to go through, and for this part I will hand over to our dear Lord Headmaster Techeron.
Greetings there, Prismatic Imperium. So today, without the lovely music you hear, my voice shall rise. As you have probably noticed, a few new channels appear under a new category as well. In the last Congress sessions, I've announced that I'd like to build something like a network for fleet carriers once they get released, so the Prismatic Imperium can find a place to not only discuss about carriers, but also view current information of the carriers we have, of the people who own them, what services they need, and so on. And I am glad to announce that this finally happened. Last week, I've created the PCN, the Prismatic Carrier Network, and put it under an own category of this Discord. This category category consists out of 2 channels. Firstly, there's the carrier status channel. In this channel, people with the assigned role, fleet carrier owner, can put in a brief description of their carrier, its name, and what services it offers. We will put this description into the pinned post. Afterwards, you can, in all details or as you wish, describe what your carrier is currently doing. If you need something like a certain commodity, if your carrier is planning a departure, and so on. So everyone with the role of fleet carrier owner can update the PI about their current status of their fleet carriers if they need something or what they're going to do. And the second channel, carrier discussion, is of course the channel where you can ask everything you like to know about fleet carriers, as well as the place to ask or request people that already own a fleet carrier about certain stuff. For example, if the branch of Vigor needs a fleet carrier in a system where an LPAD is not available, you can ask it right there. If there's going to be an expedition inside, you can ask it right there. Or if you need a fleet carrier as an assistant close to a mining ring, you can ask right there. I'm going to remind everyone once again in 2 days, shortly before the release of the carrier update, about these channels, and hope that it gets used a lot, as I have intended. I'm giving the word back to you, Lord Warden.
Thank you for spearheading this initiative to set up the fleet carrier network. If anyone who will be getting a fleet carrier in a couple of days, once this fleet carrier owner role assigned, don't hesitate to contact any High Council member and we will assign the corresponding role. And we're looking forward to seeing what everybody will be doing with the fleet carriers and how many fleet carriers we will actually have in our group. So this will be very exciting. All right, and now let us head over into our branch news section. We will start with the branch of Vigor. To be fair, for a dedicated news section announcement, Vigor continues to be mostly behind the scenes or in the background, as we might say, with the BGS going on. Currently, the branch of Vigor is a little bit laid back, and we're taking it a bit slower for a break and other activities. I think mostly Alan and me would be the ones that are the core of Vigor right now, and we are also active in roleplay, so we're not as active currently and taking a little break there to take it slower. That's nice. But nevertheless, we are not gone, of course, and objectives are still available. I'm doing my best to maintain them and always have some opportunity for people that want to run missions and help our factions or also external factions, allies in Ashling space. So definitely, if you want to do something in-game and just want to run some missions, do some pew-pew, always have your eyes on our mission channels, or if in doubt, just contact me, shoot me a note, either DM or a ping in our corresponding Vigor channels, and there will always be something to do. Otherwise, yeah, just enjoy your time, and we will definitely also be looking forward to all the changes and impacts that we will see forward going, first of all, with fleet carriers. We will see what impact fleet carriers will have on the game as such, and possibly on our branch or not. And we are as well looking forward to Odyssey and what that will bring, especially from a BGS kind of perspective. This will be very interesting to see what impact Spacelegs and Spaceleg gameplay, for example, might have. Nevertheless, this is talking about the distant future, and I don't want to consume more time. So let us head over back to the branch of Sight and our Lord Headmaster Techeron.
Well, there is a lot to cover this week, because, yeah, the last Congress was a few weeks back. And actually, because you mentioned Spacelegs, can you imagine the scientific nerd in me wanting to see every single sunrise possible on so many different worlds with atmospheres? Oh man, I can't evade it. But yeah, Okay, so as you remember, last time we spoke, I was mentioning the returning of side hotpoints. Side hotpoints are time-limited missions that offer great rewards for those who are brave enough and have enough time to actually get to these locations. Of course, with some roleplay background. And last week, in the beginning of June, the first side hotpoint concluded, and we have two winners right there who decided to take part, fortunately. And Overseer Alan Quatermain firstly reached the NGC 281 Nebula, congratulations. And on second place we had Senator Dusk Nova, also congratulations. Both of you won 10,000 diamonds as well as 150 reputation and a site discovery scanner. And of course that wasn't everything. The next site hotpoint is already on top. You can find it in the Emerald Hall section channel of the branch of site. There, you'll have to go to a special planetary nebula, which name I don't want to pronounce right now. Here, the original format of the site hotpoints goes back, because then again it just offers rewards to first place, second place, and third place differently. So, for example, if you are the first one to go there, you get 20,000 diamonds as well as 300 reputation and your very own Galnet Victory, a site-restricted vehicle. If you're not the first one, but still come along, second place still offers great rewards and the third place as well. So this was the original format I've introduced the hotpoints back then, and I wanted to return to that. Another pretty big part for us is, of course, the ongoing lore tour from Drew Vigor, because I've counted it. So far, we were able to get through into our wing 2 times yet. And the last time, so last Thursday, was actually the most interesting part, because we not only managed to get him into our wing, but we were also a big part of the stream itself, because we guided him through the Guardian ruins and showed him what actually needed to be seen. It was quite exciting for me, not only for being on his stream once again, but actually being mentioned a lot of times and showing him how these ruins really work. But the best thing was at the end of this stream. As you know, I've once mentioned an idea that for the extended lore tour, which will take place in the Formidine Rift, I was thinking about taking a fleet carrier with me, my own personal one, to provide a base of operations as well as a mobile jump station for those who don't have the light years capability or the time. And as you also know, I messaged Drew Vaga about that a few weeks ago, and I finally gotten the response I hoped for. He would be more than happy for us, for me, for the Prismatic Imperium, to bring along our very own fleet carrier for this 2 months extended tour and provide a base of operations for not only him, but also all the participants that are out there. And I can't say enough how happy I am, how glad I am that this is really happening now. It will be a massive undertaking for me and a very costly one too. So I'd like to ask for support for this massive event. I would need people that go out and mine some tritium for me, because yeah, I'm still going to purchase around 12,000 tons in the pre-phase before the extended lore tour actually starts. But I know for sure that that isn't enough fuel to get out there and back again. So I really need people to come along with me and mine for fuel. Otherwise, I'm really looking forward to this unique possibility to actually go out there, make a name for ourselves, and become an unforgettable memory. Another great news for us is that we have a new site member. After finishing the assigned roleplay mission and going with me to one of these Fargoid bases to reactivate the heart or core, Senator Nova was finally able to become a new member of the branch of site. And as roleplayed, I'd really much appreciate that you joined my branch because the last new member was a few months back and really needs to grow a bit bigger. I'm looking forward to the work with you in the future and hope that we together discover a lot of new interesting systems as well as roleplay-wise stories. Last but not least, I have renamed the side channels. For example, Special Events has been renamed to the Emerald Hall. The Explorer section has been renamed to Planetarium, and the Tinfoil Hat division has been renamed to the Laboratory. I did this because I wanted to reflect the names better with other branch channels, because obviously other branches like Vigor had channels that were more similar named to the roleplay locations or activities. So I didn't want to stand out bad and renamed the channels to reflect what side really stands for, or the locations, more or less. So that was everything for me from now. I would hand over to the branch of Mind, but it seems like our Lord Herald is once again busy writing vector articles.
He's gone. Yeah. Maybe
He
he'll join a bit
doesn't
later.
even exist, yeah.
I'm still hoping that he might join during the recording and we can maybe do a Mind News section then, but otherwise we'll just go on as usual. Who? Okay. I want to go some follow up. First of all, of course, congratulations to Nova for joining the branch of Sight. It's always nice to have people joining branches and see some activity there. First of all, I want to follow up on the hot point. You mentioned that there is first, second, and third place reward system right now. Is there some kind of participation reward? So in case more than 3 people want to do the journey, is there something that everyone gets?
Well, the rewards you get for actually visiting the hot point are not the same as doing a normal exploration mission. So what you end up with in the end is actually and probably far more than just the rewards you get for visiting this location. As in the side hot points case, I made this mission specifically for people who are already out there or are looking for quick diamonds, but not the casual ones, that just go out there for, let's say, a few days and return. So our more dedicated explorers actually have a chance to catch up on some bigger stuff without the need to return or without the need to interrupt what they're doing at the moment outside of the bubble. So to say it in a simple way, side hotpoints are hardcore missions for explorers.
Right, and of course it combines with the regular side mission board, so there's a lot of rewards to get out of it anyway, so. Alright. The extended lore tour is the second half of the, I guess, entire lore tour thing. What is the dates on that? Let me quickly open the article. The main lore tour still goes until next week.
The itinerary has been changed. Rue made a few additions and corrections because there was obviously some timing problem. So the poster, the poster with the dates I post every time is not correct anymore. You actually have to go to the updated website and look for the dates there.
Right. And looks like the extended part starts on June 18th, first in Reedcourt. That should still be in the bubble, but after that it goes to the NGC 782 Nebula. That should be the one where our expedition last year was.
That means that for us, if I decide to take the fleet carrier with me, what I'm pretty much going to do, I need to arrive at the NGC 7822 Nebula before the 25th of June. So at the 18th of June is actually the last lore tour that takes place inside the bubble, and then the real journey starts. And
Right.
that's going to be a bit stressful for me because of the fleet carrier's jump capability. I have to watch a timer, I have to throw out credits, and I have to make sure that I have enough fuel left for all these jumps. It's going to be very interesting. And yeah, I would need at least one commander with me that makes sure that my carrier doesn't run out of fuel. Also to mention, of course, as soon as the update goes live, there will be a site-specific reward for fueling fleet carriers. I'm not sure if this reward should be splitted to the Branch of Mind and the Branch of Vigor, because you two are also going to have a carrier, but I feel like the refueling part would be actually most fitted for site to reward for.
Definitely, because you're probably undertaking the most long-range journeys, as this is the perfect example.
Yeah.
After the NGC Nebula, it will go further through the Heart and Soul Nebula, then to some system that I have no idea where it is, and then further towards Zirara in the Formidine Rift. So this will definitely be an interesting and long journey.
Indeed, because reaching the Zirara would be on the 23rd of July, 2 days after my birthday.
Nice timing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I'm not looking forward to the returning trip. That's going to be hard.
All right, but I think that covers it for group, branch, and every general news, and is a great opportunity to now head over and open the discussion to everyone who is present in our prismatic discussion.
Prismatic discussion. Prismatic discussion.
Well,
Prismatic discussion.
Everyone is welcome to join in on topic now. Any thoughts on what we just talked about, on fleet carrier news or the lore tour or anything?
Yeah, the lore tour and the Formidine Rift, I could probably assist in giving directions around the Formidine Rift. I spend most of my time in game normally there. There's still a few mysteries which have yet to be uncovered in the Formidine Rift. The Zurara orbits over a planet which has got what's known as the Charlie base on it. For a long while, people reported that the mystery in the Formidine Rift was completed. I believe Drew Wager himself, even obviously he would have been under an NDA to say this anyway, but he even also stated that the mystery had been found. But the beta base has also been found in the Formidine Rift, which would indicate from the story from the data nodes that you can collect at the beta base, it concludes that there is still an alpha base somewhere in the Formidine Rift to be found.
Also, beta has been found, but alpha is not.
Yeah, the alpha base has not been found. The Charlie base is on the planet underneath where the Zurara is.
Right, okay.
And the beta base has been found. It's on a atmosphereless world. You can land on it. There are a few very precariously paced data points that you can interact with and get lore information similar to the other tourist beacon style things. It will give you like a little information packet and it'll tell you about the story there.
Mhm.
But as I understand it, and I have heavily trawled using multiple search engines and checking for different Google index references and things like that, but nobody has found Alpha Base yet. So we do know that the Alpha Base is still out there, so the part of the Formidine Rift mystery is still unsolved. There's also a section of permit lock regions in the Formidine Rift, namely the Bovamit being the largest. If you were to map out the layout of the permit lock sections in the Formidine Rift, they form basically the tips of an X on the four corners over where the Formidine Rift is.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
So there are lots of mysteries still to be found in the Formidine Rift.
I recommend you tune in on the live streams then, because there's always some interesting details dropping there.
Will certainly be interesting. I'll also put the link to the Law Tour plan and the playlist for everyone who wants to catch up on past episodes in the podcast description.
Oh, yes. By the way, the Thorne-Zytkow objects would probably be good objects for more people to become familiar with in-game. Purely one, because of the sheer oddity of the objects themselves, the way that they are a star that can't be seen on the galaxy map. But also, obviously, for the other implications that might have for mystery hunters out there. There are quite a few Thorne-Zytkow objects in the bubble, which I have identified already. There's 4 that you can locate, which I know of in the bubble. I unfortunately have not had an email back from EDSM yet. I was specifically asking them if it was possible for me to purchase a list of star systems which have a in-game XYZ coordinates of less than 0.25 light years from the nearest neighboring star. This would give us an API list, basically, of every single Thorne-Zytkow object in the entire galaxy.
I think this is actually something you could pull off with data dump from EDDB.
Yeah, I saw they had I think it was 16.8 gigabytes download
pretty
file.
big. It's pretty big. I think you can download it compressed if you add some shipping headers.
I'm not familiar with importing data files for 3D modeling. My background is not artistic related. I do know from the data trawls that I have done from other websites when I decided to go and steal all the research from the Raxler Hunter groups, for example, that EDSM has provided this facility for other organizations and groups before. 2 of the organizations, in particularly the Hunt for Raxler thing, had specially compiled lists of star systems supplied to them directly from EDSM.
By the way, just to explain what this is about, Thorne-Zytkow object in reality is the kind of theoretical, but there is indications that this really exists. The phenomenon that a star is inside another star, and that is possible with a neutron star in reality that could be inside a giant. And in Elite, due to how the random stellar forge works, it can happen that 2 star systems are generated basically inside each other, and this will cause the galaxy map to only show one of the 2 systems, and the other one cannot be really seen. You can only target it if you know the name.
Even if you know the name, what a lot of people don't realize is you can actually type the name in, hit enter, and it will initially show you the system, but the moment that you mouse over it to target the system, it will revert it to the other star. The only concrete way to do it without any hassle is if you encounter what you believe to be a Thorne-Zytkow star, when you can see it on your local map in any system, you want to add it to your favorites menu and then select it as a target from your favorites menu to jump to. And that will be the most efficient way of basically trying to jump into the system.
If I'm not mistaken, you I think you can target it through the galaxy map. I tried that, but it will not let you plot a route. It will error out when you plot the route because it cannot plot to a star inside another star.
Yeah, the only way that it can be reached is by adding it directly to the favorites menu itself, the bookmarks menu, and selecting it from the bookmark menu. In an interesting quirk to what the myths of Raxler that people have said, with a star that can't be seen on the galaxy map, it can't be directly targeted. It is interesting to note that a route plot mapper will randomly select it as a route star on a route. So you can fly through these Thorne-Zytkow objects without ever actually realizing that you've encountered one if it's a chain on the long chain of routes of star systems that you're jumping to. So chances are that even if you're exploring, unless you're paying particular attention to the stars that are in your local vicinity, the route plot mapper thing will hide a lot of secrets from you. Like I said, when you've encountered your first one and you've been through it and you've discovered the system and you're familiar with how they work, you will start to encounter more elsewhere in the galaxy.
That's definitely something we two have to talk about.
Yeah.
Could be something for the side mission board, I guess.
Yeah, could quite possibly. Of the 4 that I encountered in the bubble, each one of the 4 was slightly different from the previous one and needed a different method to be reached. Like I said, the easiest method that I found was to just select it directly from the bookmarks menu, jump to a system neighboring to it, and then because you've selected it with the bookmark actual menu, you can jump directly into it. If you try and do it from the pair bonded star, if you imagine that you've got basically A and B, that they're in a pair bond, if you try and do it from the pair bonded star, you'll have all sorts of problems where it will constantly fail out on you if you try and target it. It'll let you target it, but you can't actually start doing the force jump because it'll say the target's obscured or something like that. The way around all of those problems is literally just add it to your bookmarks menu and it's done.
All right. Do we want to talk about Odyssey?
Space legs.
Space legs.
Atmospheric planets with nice sunrises.
And I'm not sure if we're supposed to discuss the outcomes of possible data minings that may have been done. But apparently one of the more esteemed ones has said that there's evidence of possible ray tracing being implemented, that the engine's not actually activated yet, but the engine is being implemented to support ray tracing. So we may get ray tracing.
That would certainly be cool. I've heard some speculation about that as well. And I mean, the tech is certainly very popular now, and it would kind of fit the whole concept of a graphical overhaul for everything about new planet generation.
Yeah, apparently all the data hooks are in there for it. So chances are that they may just be trying it out in their alphas and seeing how they like it on their end. But they have started weaning it through into their releases to the public. So fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed.
I can just say, rip my PC.
Well, the way it already worked, it will of course still work. Let me backtrack this a little bit. First of all, the announcement for the new expansion was kind of interesting, since this was like less than a week before the release of Fleet Carriers, and suddenly there was an upload appearing on the official Frontier YouTube channel with the Odyssey reveal trailer, and that certainly hit as a surprise. Because I think many people, including me, would have expected them not to announce the next big expansion before Fleet Carriers, maybe like a week or 2 after, at the earliest. But it all very much looked like this was an accident. Somebody just wanted to prepare the upload on the official YouTube channel, and instead of scheduling it or making it unlisted, they hit the public button, and then it went live. And in no time, people started sharing this and downloading it, and it spread through the internet. And I think over a whole course of 2 or 3 hours, it looks like they just decided to roll with it and make it public again. And there was the rather short, in comparison, I would say, forum post with some text announcements. So it might have been that they just compiled that very quickly in order to just get it out because it's out anyway.
Yeah, have you actually looked at their YouTube channel and the playlist with trailers? There's still another trailer in there that's set on private, but I guess it's going to be a Fleet Carrier announcement trailer. Launch trailer.
That might have been that they actually confused the two originally, that they wanted to upload a Fleet Carrier trailer and accidentally made the Odyssey trailer public.
I
No
had
idea.
no idea, but I have to tell this. I was just sitting on the toilet and browsing through various Facebook groups, and suddenly I see a link with an ominous thumbnail about something Elite related. I clicked on it. I saw the trailer. The first thing of the trailer was the Cobra entering the atmospheric planet, and suddenly my diarrhea was gone.
Does this count under too much information?
Everything stopped. I was unprepared for this.
You certainly had interesting timing there, and then you already started to share it, since it was, I think, on the official account that you saw it, and I was a little bit confused myself. Is this official now? Is this leaked? What's going on? Do I want to see this?
I think I was the first person of PI to actually see this.
Yeah,
and then I had
yes.
to share it immediately.
Nevertheless, I'm glad that it resolved itself so quickly and that they decided to make it really official. And yeah, I was surprised also when I saw that.
Did anybody else notice the 3 different weapons were displayed by the people in the trailer? So we know that there was at least 3 different weapons.
I had a look at these weapons, and I have to say they are obviously similar to our ones from Kevin.
Yeah, I had exactly the same thought. I looked at them and thought to myself, I wonder if Kevin's being paid from this trailer.
Well, Kevin has always been very, very has given a lot of attention to making all of the things for our diamond market fit or at least fit his understanding of the Elite lore, and he does have some information there as he's worked on some Elite related projects. So it's very cool to see that pay off and see it match so well indeed. It looked in the trailer as if there was some kind of federal weapon, there was some kind of imperial weapon. We saw rifles, we saw sidearms, so that's very interesting.
I believe what's our Gal spec sniper rifle that the commander guys got in the front of the clips. I couldn't kind of make out what it was, but I think it's possibly a Gal spec. Possibly. Either that or a Gutemeyer or something. But it's definitely Imperial.
Yep.
If there aren't any Imperial weapons, I'm going to fight with fists before I touch off all of these federal ones.
And there was some additional stuff they replied to because it was a very big topic in the community. So aside from the few points that they touched on in the official announcement, they followed up on the topic of base building. Going back there a little bit, last year we had this very big Frontier-wide leak, where some post, I don't remember where exactly that happened, but some guy posted a big post with what is coming to all the different kind of Frontier projects. And for, I think, what is it, Zytkow and etc., it all paid out, and that was indeed what happened. So people gave some, at least, consideration to the Elite leaks in there, but it looks like at least either they changed direction completely or the leak was wrong. We don't know, but it talked about Thargoid FPS, which might, of course, still be a thing. We'll have to see what that will be. It doesn't sound like it for now, though. And it talked about base building, and Frontier has now confirmed that base building is currently not on the roadmap for Elite Dangerous.
So it would look like that this leak was just partially true. I mean,
just
for
curiosity,
for other games it was true, wasn't it?
Right.
Just out of curiosity, I've noticed that FDev and their employees have a very devious way of wording things, and they may not have base building on the plans. In the previous games, you were able to deploy what was known as a mining rig on planets, which was basically a nodding donkey style mining setup that would mine resources for you. We may not get base building per se, but I personally wouldn't rule out them putting in some form of mining rig system. Now that there are fleet carriers there, it opens up a lot of pathways for them.
I mean, it's certainly possible. We don't know much about what gameplay will entail, so that's of course possible. As is the Thargoid FPS. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But nevertheless, the main focus seems to be space lag and landing on planets, including atmospheric planets.
Branch of site intensifies.
Right. So hyped. The second thing that they also responded to because of a big community concern or question about it, that is the topic of virtual reality. And there they had to disappoint some people, possibly including me. Virtual reality is currently not will not be supported by Odyssey, at least at launch. They left it open whether they how much it was on their roadmap to address VR later on. We also don't know what the details here will be again, but at least all the new Odyssey stuff will looks like it does not support VR. They said that base game and Horizons will still support VR. Whether that means that Odyssey is a new client that you launch, just like you can launch Elite Dangerous and Horizon separately, and Odyssey will not support VR, or whether that means that you just kind of disable VR features once you go into space lag mode. No idea, to be honest. This will be certainly interesting since I'm a VR player myself, and I will have to make some decisions on how I want to or can swap between things. But yeah, nevertheless, they addressed this elephant in the room immediately, so VR players will have to keep their eyes open for that.
Maybe you could outplay it with just saying, I'm putting my visual resistance system away because I'm leaving the ship and I won't need it here.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting questions. The same will be controls. A lot of players use HOTAS and whatnot, and it doesn't sound like the setup you want for a first-person style of game. So I guess we should prepare to be able to jump to keyboard and mouse at any time. Maybe we'll see.
Just imagine your entire life would be controlled by a HOTAS. So if you throttle up, for example, you miss the fridge because you were going too fast and decelerated too slow.
I love that idea.
Well, I've been playing Elite with mouse and keyboard since the beginning, so I have no problems here.
I mean, I guess they have a clear interest in making this usable, so we'll just have to wait and see.
I tell you, the first thing I'm going to do is search for a beautiful atmospheric world. Go down there with my cutter, step outside on these beautiful stairs, watch a sunrise, and make some pretty screenshots.
And I'm pretty sure this will be perfectly possible.
I'm going to go to Cubio 3.
That is the interesting question. I was about to almost
your rise over the horizon.
As long as you don't go to Cubio 6 because it will be visible after this update. No.
This will be certainly the interesting question I would have brought up next. We also don't know the extent of atmospheric landings. Personally, I'd be wary if we will be able to land on Earth-like worlds. I doubt it, potentially, because I'm not sure if they have city generation and whatnot, or if they limit it to areas. No idea.
Yeah,
I guess
I expect them to exclude Earth-likes and maybe water worlds, unless they want to go into a patch with submarines.
And ammonia worlds, I don't reckon we'll get either.
If they're really going to be water worlds in this update, I'm going to myself because I have thalassophobia, and if I just see a small tap of water, I'm out.
I mean, it would be super cool if you can get
to land on a planet with an ocean deeper than everything else that exists on this world.
Right. It would be cool if you can turn your ship into a submarine, though.
But you know what I really want to see? You know these water worlds without an atmosphere, so just these blue balls. What about them? Are they going to be landable?
Is water worlds without an atmosphere technically possible?
Yeah. Yeah. There are systems with water worlds that don't have an atmosphere.
Interesting.
Just go through EDSM, there's a record for that. And I've always wondered, if they don't have an atmosphere, why can't we land on them? But now this incoming update raises the question for me, what about them now? They're going to be visible?
Really depends on whether they have some kind of way to make our ships capable of landing on water. I'm not even sure what the law is on it, or if our ships have any kind of water capability. That would be interesting if Kevin would be here now. He might have some information on that.
Well, we have aquatic SRVs. At least in our lore.
That's true, yes. So I'm not ruling that out, certainly. An important question I see Aphelion is writing is whether atmospheric flight will be supported by VR. Yes, I agree. I don't mind if space legs. For space legs, I have to swap to my desktop or some kind of desktop in VR solution, whatever. But I certainly want to see an atmospheric landing from VR, and as Techie said, watch sunrise from my ship in VR. That would be super amazing.
Our dear overseer Alan is here, right?
I am indeed.
Would you maybe share some words with us about your current feelings of the Gordon Depot roleplay?
Sure. So firstly, I think the roleplay in the channel in Prismatic Imperium is really going from strength to strength. More and more players are joining in, and that's really encouraging to see. I can see new players joining Trapeze Island, which is really being positioned as an entryway into our lore, into our roleplay, and I'm really happy about that. Regarding our community mission, roleplay mission, I suppose we could call it that. So a significant group of characters from Prismatic Imperium have adventured across the galaxy to Gordon Depot. And we're currently working very hard trying to get the information that we need in order to ensure that our system, QBO, is safe and that we can undermine the syndicate's activities. We are working hard to try and get the community, the actual community of Gordon Depot itself to help us. So my feeling is that it's going very well. It's just a huge thanks goes out to all of the participants in that roleplay, and looking forwards to seeing what the results are. Thank you for the question.
Excellent.
It's currently a weekend pause in the roleplay, but it will pick up tomorrow, I think Kevin said.
That's right. Yeah.
So this will be certainly interesting. There's a big fight coming up.
You can call it a fight. That's one way we could describe it.
I'll call it a
Massacre
fight.
is another way.
We're all gonna die.
I actually have to apologize for me not being there always to participate in the roleplay myself. But since last week school started again after such a long break, it's rather difficult to get back to the old schedule. And I wanted to have a single roleplay mission to actually have some ground. So I don't just say, yeah, I'm going out at night, blah blah blah, nothing happens in roleplay. But I really wanted to justify my actions at night when you're all asleep and I do the infiltration and information and so on. But I wasn't able to yet. Unfortunately, Kevin had no time yet. And if you're going to do one tomorrow, I try my best to jump in and die.
Very good.
Maybe.
Not again. Oh, wait. I also would like to use the moment to highlight that Alan has been busy with Trapeze Island, obviously for in character and in the roleplay for the last few weeks already, but today he's published a kind of little map for the island with that gives an overview what the places are, where you might go, what you could do there, that is supposed to help both existing but also especially new players to just have places to go to in the roleplay. And I think that is a very great idea. I've already pinned it in the Trapeze Island channel and added it to the description, so that's really cool. Great work.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And just as a reminder to anyone listening, Trapeze Island is open to anybody. If you'd like to come in, drop in, have some casual roleplay, please come and join us. We roleplaying in the Elite Dangerous universe, and it's freeform roleplay. So please do check out the map, the overview, which will give you indications on where you can go, who you can meet, what you can do, and looking forward to meeting you over there.
There was a minor section with a couple of mostly straightforward rules that you said. So if you plan to go to Trapeze Island to commit murder sprees or whatever, then you may want to check back.
Yeah, just common sense stuff. It's a family-friendly channel. It's designed to help new people or just everyone have some fun. So if murders and illegal activity, please just check that before posting it. Any sort of undermining of what we're trying to achieve there is not permitted, obviously. And PvP stuff, if you want to do posts against the other player, we just ask that you do have consent from the other player prior to posting it. And of course, the big one is, if in doubt, just ask in the RP discussion channel. There's plenty of people around, like Mistler, myself, Kevin, of course, being the most the most senior of the whole group. If you have any questions about, should I post this? Is this the right way? That's the place to go.
Right.
Oh, by the way, if you want to have an immersive experience when you go into a bar with Alan, for example, in Trapeze Island, just drink something while you're doing it. It helps greatly. Helped me last time.
Having a drink always helps.
Drinking is perfectly acceptable in RP.
Last time we had some terrible cooking and also went for a bar, and I had an Arcana Blue Deluxe, my favorite alcoholic drink. And just here on my table in real life, suddenly a wine bottle appeared.
Is it also blue?
Unfortunately not, but I still drank it.
All right. We're already closing in on the hour. Would somebody like to add something to what we've talked about, or bring up something that is that we should talk about before we close it?
Everything is welcome except Arcana 6 topics. QBL 6 topics.
I just wanted to raise the point of the pieces of concept art that were released the other day, just after the trailer release.
Mm-hmm.
They're crazy high-res ones that show different scenery from like a bar situation, the mining facility, and even like what was known as a taxi hub. I think they show a really good indication of what we can expect from the scenery in stations and in ground facilities. Also, the resolution of them is insane, so you can get some really fine details from like terminals and people in them.
I agree. I'll also add the link to that post where Elite Galaxy shared it on Twitter to the podcast description. But those are indeed very cool concept arts. They kind of reminded me of Mass Effect.
Yeah, totally.
They certainly reminded me a little bit of Mass Effect, and they don't seem to be too bad on sci-fi stereotypes. The only thing that I noticed was that there was a black and yellow hatching on the ceiling on one of them, which was super weird to me. But that's me nitpicking. Never mind me. But yeah, I'll add this to the description. Those are indeed very cool, and if this is what we'll be seeing in the social hubs and whatnot, that is very nice.
I want to be able to dress in the purest white there is. To be the maximal Imperium.
I expect
Well-
at least the customization options that you already have for your HoloMe to be available. Then there will probably be new suits for stepping out into the atmosphere and whatever else.
I'm still eagerly awaiting delivery options for the fleet carrier. I want to make mine as imperial as possible.
On the topic of cosmetics, to add to it, does anyone think it's possible that since we're getting some new planet types, we might finally be introduced to a new type of SRB?
That's a good question. Obviously, we don't know, but it's been speculated, and it would be really cool. I mean, when is the point to add new SRVs if not with Odyssey, right?
Oh, another thing I forgot to mention before about these atmospheric worlds. What we've seen in the trailer was some dusty ball, but I'm wondering, are there actually going to be some storms on it as well? Or on other planets, for example, rainfall? On the icy worlds, ice storms?
Yeah, I thought the same when I saw the trailer. That's like, okay, cool. There's definitely atmosphere here, but there's no
A working weather system, yeah?
there's no weather, right? There are no clouds in the sky.
Don't
so
forget
cool if
it.
we get volumetric clouds like
It's a pre-alpha.
right, like Flight Simulator, the new Microsoft Flight Simulator is experimenting with. So that would be top notch, but we'll have to wait on that.
Well, the trailer was just pre-alpha.
Right. Anyway, I think this is a good time to close the show. We will certainly have plenty of topics coming up about Odyssey over the next episodes that we'll be doing, and as we get closer towards release. So thanks everyone who was here for today, and see you all in the next show. Goodbye.